Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the fourth of CSW Group's series of webinars, My Choices. So if you've not managed to attend any of these so far this week, these are a series of short webinars, each looking at a different area of career development and employability. We are encouraging these sessions to be as interactive as possible, so if you're listening and have any questions, please do feel free to enter them into the Q&A box and we'll be very happy to deal with those at the end of the session. So today we're going to be hearing from our career development consultant, Karen Crosby, and she'll be talking about applying for a job and what to expect from the application and interview process. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Karen.
So thank you, Ollie. As Ollie said, today we're going to briefly look at where to look for employment vacancies, how to complete an application form and CV, and how to prepare for different types of interview. So when you're ready to start searching for a job, where do you look? Well, the best way to find a job is involving doing research right from the start. Think about yourself and what you want from a job. Consider your talents and contemplate your ideal opportunities. Finding a job will be easier once you've narrowed your focus and set yourself clear goals. There are lots of great places to search for job vacancies and lots of resources out there to help you. And social media is a great place to get your name out there, make contacts and extend your networking circle. And it's also a great place to search for job vacancies, volunteering work and work experience opportunities. Employers often advertise their vacancies on social media sites such as Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. So start following the companies you'd like to work for. And we'll talk more about using social media effectively in session 6 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Other places you can look are newspapers and local magazines. And lots of companies now advertise vacancies online, but you can still find job adverts, especially from a smaller local company, in a local newspaper or magazine. There are also professional recruitment agencies which know the local job search area, and they can help streamline your search. They can also send your CV to prospective employers. And another great place to search for job vacancies is by going door to door. And this is great, especially to search for jobs in smaller local companies. Simply take your CV into the business you're interested in working for, introduce yourself, and ask if they have any vacancies or work experience opportunities. If not, ask if they will keep your information on file. And remember, it's worth calling back into these businesses periodically to show that you're still interested and enthusiastic about working for them. But if you don't feel comfortable going into a business during the current time, you can always make a list of the companies you'd be interested in working for and email them, expressing an interest in any vacancies or work experience opportunities they may have. And remember to keep in touch with family, friends, and former co-workers if you've undertaken voluntary work or work experience, as these can help with your job search. They can recommend you to their employer or let you know when vacancies arise. So keep in touch with the friends and family members who work in the industries you're interested in. And many employers post job vacancies on websites which are specifically designed for this purpose, such as the National Apprenticeship Service website. And some sites also let job seekers post their CVs so that potential employers can find them. But be careful about putting your personal details into the public domain and follow instructions on privacy settings carefully. And there are a list of some of these websites at the end of this presentation. And another great way to gain experience in your chosen field is by undertaking work experience or voluntary work. It can give you a reference and can build new contacts. And undertaking voluntary work or work experience shows an employer that you're hardworking and dedicated, and it can enhance and build on your skills. And in session 7, we will cover more about how you can benefit from becoming a volunteer. So once you've found a job you're interested in, you will need to fill out an application form. This is an official document which an employer will use to compare candidates. The application form helps the employer compare candidates easily and shortlist those they feel are the best fit for their business. And application forms consist of 4 main sections: personal information, education, employment or work experience history, and activities and interests. Application forms are generally completed and submitted online, but some smaller local companies may still let you submit a paper application. The application form is likely to be your first chance to make an impression on an employer, and it can be the difference between being rejected or selected for an interview. Your application should grab the attention of the employer and leave them wanting to find out more. So research the company well and prepare answers which are thoughtful and tailored to the specific role for which you're applying. This will show the employer that you're interested in the job they've advertised and for working for their company. And it's important that you complete each section thoroughly. When completing your personal information, make sure that you include a professional-looking email address. List the names and addresses of any schools or colleges you've attended, academic grades that you've achieved or which you're working towards, and include any work experience, voluntary work or part-time jobs. Include your relevant skills. Make sure that you add skills such as speaking a second language, sporting or music achievements, and add any activities or interests you have if you feel they are relevant to the job you're applying for. For instance, if you're applying for a job within mechanics and your hobby is rebuilding motorbikes at the weekend, make sure that you include it here. You may also be asked for a personal statement or reasons for applying for the job. The application may ask questions such as, what originally attracted you to this job? How do your qualifications, competencies and experience are relevant? Are you willing to upgrade your skills? And how your personality would make you a good fit for the company. This is your chance to sell yourself. Match your skills and competencies to what the employer is looking for. Let your employer know if you've met employees of the company before through work experience or careers fairs, and talk about the positive impression that these meetings gave of the company. And you can also talk about the research you've done on the company. For example, the company structure, the training, the culture, the values, and why you feel you would be a good fit for this business. You may also be asked competency questions. If not on the application form, most likely in an interview. And these could be: describe a situation in the past when you've worked as part of a team, or describe a time when changes in your life meant you had to do something new or different. Employers ask these questions to help them imagine how you would operate in the workplace, so think carefully before you answer. So remember, when completing an application form, that employers will spot generic answers, so don't be tempted to copy from form to form. They want to see thoughtful, considered answers tailored to the job they've advertised. Make sure that you gather all the information you need, such as your academic achievements, dates of work experience or employment history, and study the job description closely so that you thoroughly understand the skills and qualities the employer is looking for, and make sure that you keep coming back to this as you fill in the form. Read the instructions carefully. Check how to fill it in, how to submit it, and whether you need any supporting documents, and always check when the deadline is and make sure that you submit the form well in advance. The application form is your chance to sell yourself, so don't be afraid to shout out about your achievements, and research the company well. And remember that before sending off an application form, you must double check your spelling and grammar, and if necessary, ask somebody else to check it for you. So we've talked a little about sending your CV to a company or handing it out to a business. But what is a CV? Well, a CV is a written overview of your skills, education, and work experience. It's a useful tool to send to a prospective employer when you're looking for a job or a work experience opportunity. And it should include your personal details. And again, remember to include a professional looking email address, a little personal profile, which only needs to be 2 or 3 sentences long. And you need to include relevant key skills, such as if you have a qualification in customer service or a first aid certificate, a knowledge of Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or a knowledge of databases or websites. List any work experience, voluntary work, or part-time jobs you have, and list your qualifications and your education. You can list hobbies and interests, again, if you think they may help you get the job, and you may be asked to provide the name of 2 people who would be willing to act as a referee for you. It could be somebody from a club or society you attend, from part-time or voluntary work, a teacher or a tutor. But what does a CV look like? On the screen is a picture of a basic CV. There are lots of templates on the internet, and there are a link to some of these at the end of this presentation, or you can simply create your own template. A CV is simple, 2 pages maximum of clear white paper, and choose a professional font, something such as Arial or Times New Roman. This will mean that your CV can be easily read and simply scanned. And present things in a logical order. Use sufficient spacing and clear section headings. And tailor your CV for every job you're applying for. Read the job description and emphasize the skills that are mentioned. And you can use bullet points. These are a great way to draw attention to any key facts or relevant information, and it allows potential employers to find your significant achievements quickly. And again, include your contact details with a professional email address. And again, double check spelling and grammar before you send your CV to any prospective employer. And don't be afraid of white space on your CV. If you think your CV looks quite bare, it doesn't matter. As long as you've included all the relevant information and achievements, you don't need to worry. Sometimes less is more. And don't try to include too much. Your CV should be a checklist of your achievements. So ask yourself, will this information help me get the role I'm interested in? And don't forget, if you're emailing or posting your CV, to include a cover letter explaining the job that you're interested in applying for. And don't try making the font too large or too small to fit or make your CV seem longer. Font size 11 or 12 is just fine. Don't use crazy colours or crazy fonts, and don't include your age, gender, or a photo unless you are specifically asked to do so. And remember that if you're emailing your CV to an employer, to save it in your own name before sending. That way, an employer can see who the CV is from without having to open it and scan through the document. And remember to always be truthful. Employers will refer to your CV and application form in an interview, so make sure you know the information that you have given. So after all your hard job searching, you've secured an interview. But what can you expect now? So an employer may use the following amongst many other methods to interview and recruit a new employee. Telephone interviews, online, group or face-to-face interviews. So today we're going to briefly look at preparing for these. And tomorrow in session 5 at 2 p.m, there is a session on improving your interview skills. So if your employer offers you a telephone interview, remember to set a calendar reminder in your phone and be prepared at least 15 minutes early. You don't want to miss that all-important phone call, or your employer will simply call the next person. Pick your venue and remove all distractions. Make sure that you've turned off all of the phones, electronic devices, televisions or radios, and that nobody else can disturb or distract you. Double check your phone's battery. If possible, use a landline phone, but if you need to use a mobile, make sure that you have 100% battery and that you are in a good signal strength area. Have a drink of water nearby in case you get a cough or a dry mouth, and do your homework on the company. Do research and prepare questions that you'd like to ask your interviewer. Print and lay out your essential documents and keep them nearby, and it's always handy to have a copy of the job description and your application form to refer to during the interview. And smile and sit or stand up straight. And even though your employer is unable to see you, your professionalism will shine through the phone. And remember to speak slowly and clearly. And it's okay to ask the interviewer to repeat a question if you're unsure, or to ask if you can answer that at the end. But you may also be asked to complete an online interview. And most recently, lots of meetings and interviews have moved online during the current time. So now I'm going to show a short clip of how to prepare for an online interview should your prospective employer choose this as their preferred method.
Video interviews are becoming more popular with employers as the next step in the recruitment process once you've been shortlisted. Some employers prefer live interviews via services such as Skype, while others prefer you to record an online video questionnaire. Employers can then watch it at a time that suits them. So, here are our tips for video interview success. Follow the employer's instructions carefully and get in touch with them if you don't understand anything. Don't leave it to the last minute. Make sure you know how to use the equipment and that it is set up beforehand. If you're using your own equipment, try it out with friends or family. If you're using equipment at the organisation's office, arrive in plenty of time so you know how to use it. You need to feel confident and calm before you start. Put a sign on your door if you're at home to make sure you're not going to be disturbed, and turn off your phone. Adjust the camera so that it's focused on you and the microphone is close by. Clean and tidy the table in front of you. Don't sit with your back to a window and make sure that the wall behind you is plain. You don't want to distract the interviewer with a ticking clock, or if you're at home, with washing or the radio or a television that's on. Dress as you would for any other interview. Watch our What to Wear at interview if you're unsure. Avoid dazzling the camera by wearing brilliant white or bright colours, small stripes or busy patterns. Go for solid, plain colours. The microphone will pick up all the noise in the room, so don't fidget or tap your pen. Look straight into the camera, make eye contact and smile. It's useful to switch on the picture-to-picture feature so you can see how you come across, but try not to look at it too often, as you will appear to be looking down or to the side. Interviews are always nerve-wracking, but if you can adapt to the situation, it will reflect well on you. Try to be natural and don't be afraid of the technology.
You could also be asked to go for a group interview, and this is where there will be several other young people all applying for the same job as you. So if you are asked to go to a group interview, arrive early, dress appropriately, and remember to use positive body language. And don't forget that you are on interview from the moment you walk in the building. Include everybody in the discussions and communicate effectively with others, and use respectful language. Be an active listener, but don't dominate the group. Don't be fake or pretend to be something that you're not. Don't talk over people, but don't get lost in the group. Make sure that you are part of it. Don't become too informal or over-friendly. Remember that you are in an interview situation, and remember to remain focused and keep your concentration. And if you're asked to go for a face-to-face interview, again, remember to be punctual and arrive a little early, dressed professionally and smart, using positive body language, and make sure you've done your research on the company and have prepared questions you'd like to ask the interviewer. Speak slowly and clearly. And again, it's okay to ask the interviewer to repeat a question if you're unsure, or ask if you can answer the question at the end. And at the end of any interview, always thank your employer for their time. And you can send a thank you email as well once you get home. And again, tomorrow in session 5, there will be another webinar, which is called Improving Your Interview Skills at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Karen. So lots and lots of useful information there, and I hope that you all listening gain some benefit from that. If you haven't got any questions for us today, what you can see there is our webinar careers email address. So that's careerquestion@cswgroup.co.uk. We're running all of these sessions for the rest of the week at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. depending on the session, and we really hope that you can come to as many as you can. So for today, thank you very much for Karen, and thank you to all of you for attending.